Hello, everybody. This is Dale again with the Schwee View, and I am coming with an actual subject tonight. Subject will be about the political shutdown. All right, uh, there's quite a bit about the shutdown. My biggest thing is the finger pointing that's coming out of the shutdown. First, I ask everybody, anybody who watches the show, follow me, subscribe. You can get my shows coming in whenever I do a program, then you can see it. I ask you to type in, put in, questions that you want to respond and tell me how you think and whether you agree with me or not. I love it. Okay. Because I get a kick out of individuals who I get labeled a liberal. Sometimes I get labeled a conservative. I don't find myself either one. My view on the politics is if it's best for the country, I don't care what party you're from. And unfortunately, our current parties are caught up more in what's best for them, not for the country. And now we can't get anybody to cross party lines no matter what. So let's talk about this shutdown because on my Facebook page, I have friends that have their views. And unfortunately, and on Facebook and the typing, ah, you don't really get to express yourself. And sometimes what you write in text is not what another person sees or feels in your response. And sometimes it can be taken as being hostile or just taken out of text. So I like to put it right here so you can see and hear there's no hostility here, but there's some common sense. The shutdown is wrong. I don't dispute that the government sometimes needs to have shutdowns in order to correct some wrongs, to make some things happen, but it needs to be done for the right reason. Now, in our current one, my frustration is blaming the Democrats for letting it be shut down because of health care for immigrants. And that's not at all what it is. It's easy to take a small thing that somebody else tells you and just run with it. Back when I was in school, if we were going to write a report, we needed to research anything we were going to put into our report to make sure it was accurate. Today, we don't do that. Whatever we hear, we go with. And I'm going to tell you, listen, I can't give you all the evidence, but you guys got the ability to do it. Now, the simple thing about the insurance, the Medicaid, Medicare insurance that's being withheld, and they're saying it's because it's healthcare funding for the illegal aliens. I'm not going to say that some of the illegal aliens are not getting it, but let's use some common sense here. How many actual true Americans are going to lose their insurance and their insurance coverage, their medical coverage? And I'm talking about the whole spectrum from children all the way up to senior citizens. How many will lose that medical coverage to prove a point for how many illegal aliens? What are the numbers? We're talking about thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even 1 million people plus will be affected by this insurance, the affordable health care insurance that's going to be eliminated for legal, born in, always lived in the United States, true United States American citizens that have generational, we've been here. No matter how many generations you go back, we've been here. Versus how many thousands or maybe 10,000s of illegal immigrants may be getting that insurance. So are we cutting off our nose to spite our face here? Are we really doing the right thing just to prove a point? No. My personal opinion, no. If it's the Democrat, if it's the Democrats holding out because of the insurance, then I just explained how I feel that's a wrong point. Now, the other point is this: on the Republican side of holding off and saying it's the Democrats holding out insurance. See, the insurance was already, the Democrats aren't asking for anything to be added. To the budget. They're asking for it to not be subtract. The Republicans have cut that. The insurance has been funded for what? Nearly 20 years now. Okay. It's been funded, maybe not 20, 15 years. It's been funded. It's been there. It's not something new anymore. It's being taken away. So is it really the Democrats that are responsible for the shutdown because of wanting the insurance to continue? Or is it the Republicans that are making it look that way? They're making it look like a scapegoat. The Democrats, so we throw the mud, and hopefully people will go with it. And here is why I say now there's even more sense to it. The SNAP benefits. We heard the president say that most of the SNAP people on SNAP, the welfare programs, are Democrats. I'm sorry, I've been in the country for a long time, pretty much my whole life. And I've worked with the government a lot. Nowhere on any of the government paperwork that anybody fills out does it ask you your political affiliation. Nowhere. So nobody has any idea who is actually a recipient of the SNAP programs or the Medicare programs. Nobody knows their political background because it's never asked. So for our president to make that statement, it is simply to create a line of division, a judgment for people to be able to judge and make an assessment that is, well, unfounded. So let's don't get ourselves caught up in that. Let's simply just try to stay with what we know. And if it was to go by political affiliation, statistics have shown that most of the states with the highest recipients or participation in the welfare or the SNAP programs come from the primary Republican states. Now, that doesn't mean they're Republican backers. I'm willing to believe that a lot of people that are on SNAP programs don't have any affiliation with politics. They're just trying to live. They're at a point that all they care about is trying to live. They don't care about trying to be caught up in politics. So to muddy up the waters by putting it in as political party affiliation based, again, we're just throwing mud. So I don't think we should say, hey, it's the Democrats that are not voting for the Republicans, because you could simply say, well, the Republicans aren't voting for the Democrats. It's a party divide. So in business, we have a theory. It's called keep it simple, stupid, the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. So let's look at it in a simple way. Medicaid was already funded. SNAP already funded, and has always been funded for the last several government shutdowns. It wasn't until this one that we have decided to bring the poor people, the less fortunate, the individuals who can be affected the most into the equation. If you've got a Republican White House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican House, and the continuing resolution isn't really continuing because it's asking to reduce or remove funding for programs that have already been there, hence the word continuing. So that would be a continuing resolution, but they're not asking for a continuing resolution. They're asking for a reduced resolution or a removed resolution. So without having blinders on, without going into the argument, believing in a complete party affiliation platform argument, go in just looking at things. Because trust me, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I go for what's the best thing for the country. And in this particular case, to take a reduction in what's already been being paid for, and if we want to break this all the way down, go back. I'm old enough, and a lot of you guys are old enough too. If not, we've got Google that you can go back and watch video that is not going to be tampered with and see that the Republican Party line in the 90s was for universal health care. Mitch McConnell of Kentucky was pushing universal health care real hard, early 90s. But when the Democrats took control of the White House and the Senate in the 2000s, and they decided to get on board with, they said, hey, yeah, universal is a great idea. But all of a sudden the Republicans said, no, it wasn't our idea, so now we're against it. Most Republicans are not against it. They're just against not doing the party line. Most Republicans are for it because they have some family members and they've learned that it actually works. It makes our country better because it allows our people to be healthier, and therefore they're more productive at work because they make it to work. They're not as sick on a regular basis. So drawing our decisions based on party lines is not the right way to go. Are there Republican ideas that I think are wonderful? Yes. Cutting the budget is one of them, but we can't cut it at the wrong places. We have to cut it at the right places. And cutting a person's health care that's already been paid for years is not the right way to go. Maybe government supplied sidewalk sweepers and street cleaners? Is that really necessary? Let's look at what works for the whole versus just for the few that happen to be our relatives and benefit from what Johnny Congressman wants best. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this opening show is the shutdown, because so many people are pointing fingers and not listening. And I can't put all this in type on Facebook. I can't put all this in type on Twitter. But just take your time. I ask you, take your time. Sit back and think about this. Continuing resolution is what they're asking to be signed. But the Republican continuing resolution is not a continuing resolution. It's a reduction, a continued, but they're reducing what's already been paid for. So therefore, it's not a continuing. The Democrats are simply asking for a true continuing resolution. And the agricultural secretary, I read the other day, got herself in hot water by making a statement that we have failed the people because we have reduced the food stamps and we should not be making these individuals who are on food stamps should not be the individuals who should be being punished. It shouldn't be weaponized, I think is the word she said. They should not be suffering and be brought into the middle of this. And then she went on to say it's the Democrats' fault because they won't sign the continuing resolution, which includes the reduction of the health care benefits. Well, the same people that are, if the people who are losing their food stamps, if this causes us to be wrong, it's the same people that are going to be losing their health care. So your argument about blaming it on the Democrats because they won't sign for cutting the health care, but that the whole government is wrong because they're cutting the food stamps, I think if you really look at that, you had the wrong argument, because if you want to help the needy individuals that are on food stamps, then you need to continue to help the same people on the food stamps that are on the affordable health care insurance. We can't we can't not hear what we're saying. I agree. The poor people of our country should not be the ones that are being used as pawns. The poor people of this country, and in reality, none of the people of this country should be being used as pawns when it is the wealthy politicians that are having, for lack of better terms, the simplistic term, keep it simple, stupid, they're having a pissing match. My mother used to call it a pissing contest, where you want to see what you can do versus what they can do. We are bigger and better than that. The people of this country do not deserve to be caught up in the middle of a political pissing contest. So you guys, anybody who sees this and shares this with anybody else, yes, change your focus. Understand. In this particular case, I'm siding with the Democrats in the fact that no, if it's a continuing resolution, it should include the continued insurance coverage. So I have to side with the Democrats for the simplistic form. Keep it simple, stupid. Continuing resolution. Then we continue with what we've been doing. We do not do a continued resolution by removing things. That's not continued. That's a whole new program. That has to be in a whole new budget. All right. That's 20 minutes. I get rambling, and I am very passionate about this, and I will have more subjects, probably a lot more frequent than I did before. I thank you. Again, subscribe, like, follow. Let's get some things going, and we can do this. We can do this. Whether you agree with me or not, write in your points. We can discuss it. I like when people have a different view. If you have the same view, write that in too. But if you have a different view, it's okay to change it, because I have laid out some pretty strong examples as to not why I'm right, but why the shutdown is wrong. There's a difference. I don't care to be right. I care to fix a wrong. That's what matters. Thank you. Have a good night. I'll see you guys on the next show.